Welcome into Hand Raise, guys, here on this Thursday evening. I'm Neal McCready, Chase Parham with me. We're brought to you, as always, by our friends at Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. It's kind of muggy out today. Ought to be kind of a reminder that, yes, there's more cold coming. But after that, it will get hot, and when it does, you want to make sure that AC is ready to roll. You probably haven't been checking it in a while, so make sure you call our friends at Comer at Southern. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call our friends at Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, South Haven, Memphis, Olive Branch, those areas, call our friends at Southern, 662-429-4429. We're in the Clark Ford Studios. Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for our buddy Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. Just right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle, but you get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guest will join on the Campbell Clinic Hotline, which is right there on the screen if you're watching. It's from fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions. The pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford, the only specialized pediatric team in North Mississippi, providing expert care for growing bodies. So visit campbellclinicoxford.com, schedule an appointment, or call 901-759-3111. This will be Friday's Blue Sky Live. Chase, what's up with Blue Sky?
Hey, we told you this morning, good time to maybe let them take care of your catering for the Super Bowl. You need a main course, you need a little something extra. Look, they got desserts, they got side items, they got ribs, they got pulled pork. They'll take care of you. They got wet or dry. You can even call ahead. They'll wrap it up and have it ready to go for you Super Bowl Sunday or any day of the week. A lot of stuff going on. Kids' activities. Let them take care of you. It's up and down I-55, North Mississippi, down in Macomb with the epicenter. A lot of options there. Blue Skies and Sweet Daddies here locally in Oxford and everywhere. You guys are getting into the heavy subject matter in the stream this fine evening.
Yeah.
Trying to decide whether to tell a friend some you better be real sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
Real sure.
Yeah.
I'm not asking questions, but I got questions. I would need a lot more information than you guys are giving in the stream right now to have a fully functioning thought on that.
Yep. NBA trade deadline is over. Yep. Sure is.
Spencer Dinwiddie tonight to Dallas Mavericks.
Clippers add Bogdan Bogdanovic, 3 future second-round picks. Hawks get Terrence Mann, Bones Highland. Wizards get Marcus Smart from the Grizzlies. Kobe
not
Jones,
a good day for Marcus
Alex
Smart.
Jones. Grizzlies get Marvin Bagley III, Johnny Davis, and picks.
Is that a good deal for the Grizzlies?
It's that they had roster glut. There was Smart. The Grizzlies kind of rolled the dice on Marcus Smart. It was a good gamble. It just didn't.
Comrade Tate, he's asking, do y'all celebrate Mardi Gras? What do you mean by celebrate for that? Give me a little more information before we answer. Who we got on the line?
Yeah, who's on?
What's up, guys? This is Tupelo.
What's up, Tupelo?
Not a whole lot. You can go ahead and finish the other thing. I just want to talk about the Luka trade.
Okay.
No, you can go ahead.
No,
We're good.
Ahead,
we don't have an answer yet on that. I'm waiting for more information.
Okay.
We're good.
My bad. Okay. So I know Neal's the NBA guy, but Chase, I just want to get what is your opinion, kind of in depth on the whole trade itself, and then I'll kind of give my opinion.
I mean, I don't know that in depth in the NBA is something I'm going to have a ton to answer, but I mean, it's been a running joke on the podcast, but I do follow the Mavs closer than I do any other NBA team. Fan is probably too strong, but I mean, look, for my own motivations, it makes
I don't know. That coffin sitting outside of your house was like a little extreme. I mean, you know.
It seems it's making me less likely to care or watch or follow. I'll say that. Not like Luka's that guy I'm going to name my dog after or anything, but at the same time, having that dynamic of a player that you pull for, you are much more likely to turn it on or do something or whatnot. And now, I mean, I was looking at their starting lineup before we started the show right here, and there wasn't a lot in there that was getting me all excited for the evening there. So I don't know. I would love for somebody to explain some reason to me that made sense, where I went from a business standpoint. Okay, wow, that was at least something. And the fact that we got nothing, and you could at least entertain with some plausibility that some sort of conspiracy happened, is fascinating. Again, did it? I don't know, but did a trade was so bad that you could even entertain the thought, and we are there right now.
Yes.
I mean, this is Reggie Bush not going to the Texans times 1,000.
I was giving them the benefit of the doubt,
and I think that was a conspiracy.
I was giving them until today. Like, hey, do you turn this into Kevin Durant or something like that? Because if you do, well, then, okay, well, maybe there was a plan. There now does not appear to have been a plan.
Well, it's not. Well, Chase, as a casual, I mean, if you're a casual, I can only imagine they were refunding tickets to diehard fans. So I can only imagine what the casual fan base drop-off will be. But I don't know. I think it has potential. Right now, I'm a Grizzlies fan, as I've said. But as of right now, the Grizzlies trade indirectly is the worst one of all time, where they had the second pick overall in the 2003 draft, but they traded that pick in 1997. So they didn't know that. I mean, they didn't know LeBron and Melo and those players would be of that caliber. So they ended up forfeiting that pick and could have had Carmelo Anthony or whoever they wanted besides LeBron. So that's a bad trade indirectly. This may go down as the worst direct trade of all time. I mean, now with Mark Williams, the Lakers starting five is probably better than the Mavericks starting five.
No, it's not.
Just,
Probably?
Oh, God.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And,
dude, it's not even close. I mean, you've got Kyrie with the bulging disc. You've got street clothes Anthony Davis, who's had a good year. He's had a good year, but you're now, hey, Anthony, you're no longer like, hey, we can maneuver with this. No, you got to be the guy. And you don't have Luka. And Luka, absolutely, no offense to these two guys. No offense to Daniel Gafford. No offense to Derek Lively II. Both really good players. But they're both really good players that played really, really good with Luka. And Luka immediately goes to L.A. And what is first thing he tells them is, hey, make sure you get a big who can participate in the lob. Make sure you get a big.
And 12 hours later, they get one.
And they go get him because they still had assets left because the Mavericks didn't ask for the top price.
I don't know how the Mavericks or the Hornets didn't get Austin Reeves. So think about this. The Lakers, since 2019, Rob Pelinka gets a lot of heat, and I don't like the Lakers. I mean, I like LeBron, but I don't care about the Lakers. Since 2019, they've signed LeBron James. 2018, they've signed LeBron James. They've traded Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball and 3 first-round draft picks for Anthony Davis, a championship, and then Luka Doncic. And that's it. I mean, they turned Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart into a championship and Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
And that's all that they gave up. And then this recent trade, Mark Williams is in his 3rd year, and he's younger than Dalton Knecht, the Lakers just drafted. So not only did the Lakers make their roster younger, it made it better. And the Mavericks, okay, I heard somebody, like I was talking to someone at work he's a Pelicans fan, and he's like, well, they did get a first-round pick. And I was like, it's in 2029. Luka's going to be 28 and 29 years old. That pick's going to be like 27th in the draft. I don't really know if that's that, important or credible. I mean, it's honestly ridiculous.
Where do you think?
But I got
real quick, Tupelo. Where do you think the Mavericks?
Yeah.
Where do you think the Mavericks will be picking in 2028?
I mean, let's say this is post LeBron Lakers era. They're probably still, depending on who they can extend, they're probably going to be a title contender.
No,
so like
Mavericks. The Mavericks. In 2028. Where do you think the Mavericks pick in 2028?
Oh, I mean,
Wherever the ping
Probably
pong
top
ball
10.
falls.
Probably. I mean, it depends on. Yeah, they're probably going to be a lottery team by then.
Where do you think the Thunder pick in 2028?
At the end.
Well, who do you? I mean,
Sam Presti.
what worst team?
Matter.
What?
I mean,
Well,
the roster is.
I'm getting to the punchline
Hold on.
because we're going to swap those. We own the swap right. The Thunder own the swap right.
Oh my gosh! See.
So if
really?
If the Mavs go fourth and the
Are you kidding?
No, the Thunder own the Mavericks 2028 swap.
From whom?
See,
I can't remember how it went. Oh, the Thunder got involved and expedited the Gafford trade last year.
Yeah, see, now, this is the problem. People are mad at, well, the Lakers get a generational talent every generation. Okay, we need to be burning down the city of Kansas or Oklahoma City for what they're doing. I mean,
hold on a second. I get they need a title, but does Presti hit every green light too on the way into work in the mornings?
Yeah.
No joke.
I mean, my God,
no joke. He is one title away from people going, that guy is the best executive in sports.
He sees the future. I am not convinced any other way. He sees the future.
Damnedest thing.
I mean, they own so many picks now, and swaps.
So,
they don't even have to think about it.
We're at Ray's level when they go, hey, we want to trade a guy. I go, nope, I don't know. If you don't want him, I don't want him. I'm good.
Close.
No thanks.
Well, and today they trolled today. I mean, today was the troll. Today was which tells me they feel really confident. They did two things today. They did the little deal with New Orleans for Tice. New Orleans needed to move some salary. Thunder took him. They waived him today. They got an extra pick out of that, by the way, for 2029 or something, a second rounder.
Sure.
And then creates an opening in there. They created a roster spot. They activated Holmgren for tomorrow night. Made that be the big social media thing. And then they've got a roster spot where, I don't know who it'll be. Malcolm Brogdon's one of the rumors. When one of those guys get bought out here in the next couple of weeks, they've got a roster spot to bring in a veteran to come in and fill out the bench.
Yeah, well, so I was looking at some stats and numbers earlier about just Luka and the whole deal. There's been two players, I believe, in NBA history. If not, it's at least since the 60s. But there's two players in NBA history that has been drafted to a team, led that team to the finals within the first 5 years, and also led that team in points, rebounds, and assists in the playoffs. One of them is Luka Doncic. Could you name the other one?
All right, take me through that again.
Yeah, give me the parameters one more time.
So there's two players in NBA history. So Luka's one of them.
Okay.
But it's a player that was drafted by the team, or at least started their rookie year on that team. I know we have draft night.
Yeah,
so started their rookie year on that team, led that team to the finals within their first 5 years of playing, and also led their team in points, rebounds, and assists in the playoffs. There's only been two players.
It's got to be a point guard, doesn't it?
So the two names that come to mind,
because Kobe came first, but he's not going to lead an assist.
Yeah, the two names that came to mind were Kobe and Magic Johnson.
It's Luka and LeBron James.
LeBron.
Okay, yeah, once we started talking, I was wondering about LeBron because he does.
So I know Luka. People talk about his defense or whatever, but you just traded someone that is in the same conversation in his first 5 years with LeBron James.
Yeah, the whole Luka defense thing. Look, who cares? When you can take in the playoffs when the games slow down and it becomes a half-court game, he's one of a very small handful of players that can just overcome it.
Well, not only does it matter, but now for the Lakers, they have a top 3 player in the league at worst on their team now, and they still have their 3-and-D type players with Rui and Austin Reeves because the Mavericks just decided not to deal with any of those players. As a Grizzlies fan, I just hope that the Lakers either lose in the first round some kind of way or something, because the writing's on the wall for them to go off on a young Grizzlies team that's just cannot win a game in LA no matter what the circumstance is. But anyway, I don't know. It's the first time that I've ever wondered if there is some type of, not conspiracy, but if there is some entertainment to it, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't.
The trade just doesn't make any sense.
I don't think it's a conspiracy unless you're going to go into the whole Vegas, Texas legislature gambling conspiracy, at which point that is a lot. I just think I said this on the morning show. Just because you have a title doesn't mean you're smart. And there's a lot of people that are good executives, and there's a lot of people that are awful executives.
Did you see the video of the press conference after it all went down? This is before any other trades happened. And Jason Kidd is just like staring off into the ether. I mean, he looks.
It reminded me of a certain press conference in Oxford about a decade ago.
Yeah, I was literally. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, he had that look.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking, this guy, I don't get it. But anyway,
there's somebody with a gun off camera pointing it at him, where he knows if I run for it, he's going to shoot. If I run for it, he's going to shoot.
Well, I mean, and here's the thing: if it really is because, and I've seen you posted on the board, Neal, but if it really is because he's gotten fat, his photo shoot in LA today, he didn't look fat.
He's not fat. He's so stupid.
And I mean, look, there's been people in my house, my wife, who's thought about trading me because I've gotten fat.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
But he doesn't look fat. I don't get it. I don't understand. But good thing I'm not a Mavericks fan. I have family that are. I mean, goodness gracious. I don't get it. But anyway. All right, well, I'm going to hang up and listen. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks, Tupelo.
Bye.
He sounded depressed.
Well, I mean, it's not a good situation.
No, it's not a good one.
You thought you were all in the game and everything was cool, and
I went from being worried about the Mavericks in the playoffs to suddenly I'm kind of worried about the Lakers.
Well, you did do that.
I think it'd be all right, but yeah.
I mean, you 100% did that.
It'd be hard for them to gel completely. Yeah, the whole Lucas fat thing. I mean, yeah, compared to some of the dudes in the NBA, does he look a little big? Sure. But he's not fat. He still maneuvers really, really well. And he's so good with his body, his ability to, he's very hard to guard. He's a big guy. But he's not fat.
Not fat.
No. He's not all ripped like a lot of NBA guys.
Well, that's true.
I mean, he's fat in the same way that like Patrick Mahomes is fat.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't look at
General pop.
If Patrick Mahomes walks into the room right now, the first thing you say is not, "Oh, hey man, you're fat."
Got to drop some LBs.
Yeah, no,
he just doesn't look like DK.
Yeah. Neither does 99.something% of the populace. He doesn't look like, I don't know. Who am I even thinking of? A lot of NBA guys look, super ripped, and they're 6'7" and they're lean, and he doesn't look like that. But he's fine.
He can still score. He can play.
Oh, he can score. He can definitely score. The Mavericks will have a hard time replacing those points in the half court. That will be a struggle. They might be better defensively with Davis. Sure, he's a great defensive player. Post presence. But Davis doesn't want to play center. He wants to play the 4. So,
why?
Because that's what he's always wanted to do, even though he's a better center.
I mean, I've heard him joke about it in interviews and stuff because he tells everybody he's 6'11" because for 7 foot, you got to play the 5.
Yeah, Kevin Durant did the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Durant used to get introduced at 6'9", and you're like, if that dude's 6'9".
6'9".
I mean, he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Back in the day when they were all with the Thunder, how did the 3 of them get introduced? Who was first, last?
Well, Harden came off the bench.
Oh, that's right.
He was a 6 man.
Yeah, that's right.
Russell always went first, and KD was last.
Really?
And even when KD left, Russell kept being introduced first.
Did he really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Always.
I know that. to your question back about Mardi Gras, you did fill us in. We always have a cake in our house before it's over, but I'll be honest, right now I'm trying to not eat it, so I'm not going to go out and buy one. I've got a buddy that sends one some years. Has sent one for, like, they do the ones you can decorate, like for my kid to decorate, so that's been good. But I don't. I know I'm a huge New Orleans person, but I don't love king cake. Like of desserts, it's not high up the list. It's fine. It's good. Again, don't make a message board post saying, "Oh, Chase hates king cake." That's not what I said. It's good. It's fine, but it's not one I'm going to go out and seek the way I would some other things.
Yeah, I like it. I don't really want it in the house because I'd be afraid in a weak moment that I couldn't limit myself to just a little slice, and that I
especially when you just sit on the counter and you just leave the knife in the box and you just start.
Next thing you know, it's gone, and you're like,
getting
"Damn
one
it!"
And go out and get one. That's what that was what the dessert was for the media catering at the game the other night. Basketball, Kentucky
king
game.
cake.
Yeah, it actually was really, really good. I bragged on it on the message board. It was my Michelle's did the catering, it was Cajun chicken thighs and salad and stuff. It was really good.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, it was excellent. That was after the guard did his job really well, trying to keep me out of the media area.
So what happened?
Look, maybe everybody should applaud him because he was doing a phenomenal job. And I always I'm trying not to be a hypocrite because I make fun of the ones that never check anything, and I could bring. I mean, I told you I could do a baseball thing where I videoed myself and I just kept bringing bigger and bigger illegal items every week. And over time, I could take anything in. And
AK-47.
Yeah, exactly. So what was that?
Instagram notification.
Okay. So yeah, I went in. So and obviously you guys don't understand. You go into the first deck of the parking garage, and I had to pick up my credential because I don't have a season one because I don't cover every game. Maybe y'all don't either. I don't know how y'all do it. But anyway, so I go to the first section, I get my credential, and the dude who's supposed to check the bag is sitting there, but I don't go enough to realize I'm supposed to go initiate him. So I just got
he doesn't really initiate.
So I've just got my bag on. I get my pass. I'm like, hey, whatever. The guy knew who I was. He handed it to me. I get on the elevator, and there's a security guard in the elevator. Well, I go up to we hit the button. We go up to the next floor. There's a Kentucky basketball player on the elevator with me. He's needing to go somewhere too. I don't know. And we get like halfway up, or he opens the door and he stops and looks at me and goes, "You don't have a bag tag." And the door said open. And I was like, I don't know. He didn't do it. Like, whatever. I'm like, I'm here now. We're good. He goes, no. You got to go back down and get a bag tag. And I'm like, well, my bag's already in. It's fine. Like, I'm walking right there. I can see the garage door. We're good. And Javon Patterson is walking by, and he literally looks out there and goes, "Hey, you don't have a tag either. You got to come with me." And Javon just took off the other way. He called me a couple minutes later. He's like, "What was that about?" I was like, "Yeah, you were good. Just keep going." It's
he
cool.
bailed on you. He could have come saved you.
He could have saved me. He didn't pull
Come
me
on,
out.
Javon.
So
we go way back.
We close the doors. We go back down to the first section. He brings me off the elevator. This is the best part. He tells the Kentucky basketball guy, "Hey, button right here so the elevator doesn't leave the floor." He asked the Kentucky kid to hold the door open button while we're doing this. This player's like,
he's like, "I got a game to play."
Yeah, so I
got warm-ups.
He's holding the button, and he takes me back out there, and he's like, "Hey, you didn't tag his bag." And the kid goes, "I did too." And I'm like, "No, you didn't." And he's like, "What are you doing? You let him by?" And he's like screaming at him.
No.
And I'm like, I don't know. Like, and he's like, "Can I check your bag?" And I'm like, "Sure, look in it all you want, whatever." He doesn't get back on with me. He goes, "All right, you're going down to M, right? Or E, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." Just puts me and the player back on the elevator. Then he stays there, and we go down.
Rode that.
He was about to stay and make sure they did whatever they were doing.
Wow, look at that.
Hey, he did his job.
He did.
His job is to make sure every bag is checked, every tag is on the bag, ready to go.
Hey, caller, who do we have? Hey, caller, who do we have?
Hello?
Hey, you're on.
Can y'all tell me what Alabama might do this year? Am I on the air, sir?
You are on the air.
Would you mind if y'all give me any kind of idea if our coach is still going to be there, or what's going to be happening with that?
With which coach?
Alabama.
Nate Oates.
Alabama coach.
Basketball or football or softball?
Football, sir.
Okay.
So.
Be careful.
Hmm?
Yeah. Be careful.
We're trolling.
Oh, I have not seen anything about Kentucky destroying anything. I haven't. That would shock me because Mark Pope does not seem like anyone who would tolerate one thing. And I mean, I know we kind of been bashing Mark, but that.
All right, that's good. Took care of that one. Roll Tide. Oh, that was old school? Oh, well, he should have probably just told me he was old school. That would have been easier.
Oh.
We could have been we would have played along a little bit better if I'd known. But
It's okay.
it's okay.
Oh, wow. According to KSR, Mark Pope did. Yeah, I didn't see that.
What did Mark Pope do?
I guess knew that they destroyed something or he did something. I don't know.
Bracken, how are you?
Doing well. How are y'all?
Doing great. How are you? You appreciate you calling in. How's life?
Yeah, absolutely. Life is good. Life is good. Just watching a lot of hoops. Got to go down to the first home game of the season on Tuesday night.
Oh, okay.
Saw that. Yeah, I saw the your observations there on the message board.
Yeah, that's. I guess I picked a good one to go to, huh?
Yeah, one turnover in 40 minutes is usually a pretty good recipe, as a rule.
Yeah. Yep, I haven't.
You turn it over one time in 40 minutes, and I like your chances to win more than you lose.
Yep, the whole rebounding thing kind of goes out the door a little bit when you have that ratio.
What was the rebound total on Tuesday?
They lost by like 8, maybe 7, 8,
Okay.
something like that. They got beat. They only got beat on the offensive end by like 3 or 4, but it was like 8 total, something like that.
Chase, did you go to Pope's press conference?
Go ahead, Bracken. What?
Did you go to Pope's press conference?
Yeah, they did them both in the same room.
Did you notice the blood on his hand?
Oh no, I didn't.
There's he's very mild mannered, and I actually think that a lot of their fan base is upset with the lack of intensity and abrasiveness that he has. But it was an interesting bit after his call-in show yesterday, where somebody noticed that he had blood on his hand in this press conference. And he talked about how, you have to pick when you get emotional and stuff like that. And there was a lot of broken furniture in the locker room. But he never answered if it was him or the players. That's the reason why his hands were bloody.
Oh, wow. No, I did not see that. I didn't know that.
If his hands were bloody, it was probably him.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm...
Slam something down.
Yeah. He used a lot of wheeze, but that was interesting. He looked, I guess if you look at where like the athletic trainer would sit on a staff, I sat like 3 rows above the athletic trainer on the Kentucky side, but I watched him a lot, and I'm kind of intrigued by him because I think he's a phenomenal offensive coach. But he looked like really rattled even before the game started. Like I saw him closing his eyes and like deep breaths for 10 seconds. And I was like, oh, so it was a tough one in Lexington Saturday. And I kind of knew that Ole Miss, I had a pretty good feeling. They looked like they were just playing with a lot of confidence against Auburn, even though they didn't get it done, and gained a lot of confidence from that.
Yeah, they kind of said that afterwards. Like if you listen to Padula, I thought it was a really interesting answer on Saturday, about what was the takeaway from that game. And it was, it's one thing to kind of believe you can play with the elite teams, and it's another thing to see proof of concept. And, look, they got beat, but it wasn't like Auburn walked their way to that win. Auburn played really well. I mean, they shot 14 for 28. They made the extra pass. They made Ole Miss work. The 2 big guys were just too much. Ole Miss doesn't have really anyone on their roster who could, kind of handle them consistently. And, to Bruce's credit, he went to it. And Bruce is a really good coach. And, that Sean talked about that and so did Chris, actually, that sometimes you have to kind of pick your poison. And, Auburn, to its credit, was like, all right, we're going to make you pick. And then Auburn mixed it up and if you pick the same thing every time, we're gonna burn you. And, it worked. I mean, they got the ball to Broom up at the top, and he's a much better passer than even he was a couple of years ago. And he's always been 100%. A very good player. And, he made the pass, and this. I mean, I'm not telling you no more basketball than I do. Once he makes the right read on the double and makes the pass, well, now defensively you're scrambling the rest of the way. As long as you can make the right pass. And they did. I mean, Auburn did. Auburn made the right extra pass every time. And Chris said this. He was like, in a game like that, you need them to miss a couple of those open shots. You need a couple of those open shots to rim out. And they didn't. I mean, they made them. Guys came out and they got to the open look and they knocked it down. And there's a reason they're number one in the country. And you saw it that day. But to your point, and I thought this had been real time, and I think I wrote it in my column, which is there was some proof of concept there. There was some, okay, we can do this. We can play with those kinds of teams. And Chris, who consistently says it, and people kind of make fun of it. I guess I used to sort of roll my eyes at it, and I don't anymore. His whole focus, no matter whether you think it's obsessive or insane or whatever you might think, his whole focus is on getting his team ready for March, the tournament. That's his focus. And I mean, you can go, hey, dude, it's December. You're not there yet. But everything is about, he was like, our goal was not to be able to get to play in games like this. Our goal was to get to a place where we can win games like this in March. And then he said, but look, if Auburn plays like that and makes shots like that, no one's beating them, Ole Miss included. Well, and he's right.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think, Padula too, like his comment wasn't like a moral victory comment, but it was more like, okay, we got it behind us, but we're good.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I thought was interesting that there's a few things you go into a game that you just want to observe is like Beard with Dia. He rides him so hard, and I like it a lot because Beard's not the Bob Knight, on the sidelines. And last year he was he sat down a lot last year as a coach, but I think he knows Dia's upside, but shot selection. And the other thing is I think Dia's got to put some weight on. Amari Williams, they went to him kind of early and got away from it. I was a little surprised, but when Dia's guarding somebody that's got 10 or 20 pounds on him back to the basket, it becomes an issue as well. But that was another thing that I thought was intriguing is you've got some leaders on that team. Diaz still got some time left with the program, and Beard really rides him, which I think is good.
I'll ask you this. You're a basketball guy. You know a lot of people in the business. We're getting questions in the stream about it, which means it's a matter of time before someone calls and asks it. How much, if at all, in your opinion, should Ole Miss be worried about what happens in Indiana?
Yeah, the interesting thing is that tweet about Mike Woodson came out within the past 30 minutes, I think. Have you all seen that?
I have not.
Okay, so Mike Woodson apparently it's not confirmed, but Goodman has tweeted that he is contemplating retiring at the end of the season.
Okay.
But what I think is, I will say, I think Beard believes he can get it done at Ole Miss. And I'm not just saying this because I worked for AK, but I think this job's different than it was even when Kermit first got the job, when AK got the job. I mean, you're top 25 in head coach salary, assistant salary, recruiting budget. You're in the best league in the conference right now. You've got a great arena, and we'll never be able to put a pin to this, but I bet you're top 25 range for NIL.
Yeah, I would think there's a lot of money this year.
They're spending a lot of money this year. So those are all positives. And so really it's like, okay, well, what are the negatives? And it's program history, which, by the way, if you're a recruit, maybe you care about that, but the extra $50,000 you care about more.
Yeah,
and then
it matters less today than it's ever mattered.
100%. And now the second one still is important, and that's pro success.
100%. 100%.
That was
one thing that really kind of hangs over them is that the lack of NBA presence.
The lack of NBA presence, yes.
Yeah.
And it's non-existent.
Literally, it's none right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I'm approaching 30, and like I haven't seen any of it really. And Jay Reed and a little bit of TD. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but like that's my whole life of what I can remember.
That's it. And nothing against the late Justin Reed, but the kids don't remember that either, right? I mean, the kids, the memory's really short, and TD should fire whoever his agent was that gave him that advice.
Yeah,
so fired. My God. But he's it. I mean, he's it. It was Terrence Davis. And there's really nothing else. It's the one thing, because you look around the league. Like I know you watch a lot of NBA. I watch a lot of NBA. There's a heavy SEC presence in the NBA, heavy, and Ole Miss has none of it. And I do wonder if in a thing where it's close for a recruit, if that factors in a little.
And I do think it does. But look, those are all the positives. And then the negatives obviously being the other two. I also think like there are some players that like more of the city feel, but like Oxford does sell itself too. That's like a 1 to 5%, an impact for these recruits.
Yep.
But going back to the question, like I do think that from my understanding, he was very interested in the Arkansas thing. And I know there's a lot of, hey, what was Arkansas doing on their end of, sitting and waiting with Tyson, and were they really serious about Beard, et cetera? I do think they were serious, but I make that point to say that I don't think this is a forever thing, but I think that day by day, he's realizing the ceiling of this is a little better than he thought. And I also think that personally he's established some relationships in Oxford that are going to be hard to leave as well.
So you have a few more minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. So I kind of, I've asked some people about the Arkansas thing up there, and it's hard to get like a complete read where you're like, okay, I'm so comfortable with this that I'd bet my life on it. Luckily, I'm not going to have to bet my life on any of this, so I can talk in those hyperbolic ways. I don't know that he ever actually had the offer to go to Arkansas. Now, what I don't know, and what would be interesting, and this is where this is kind of nuanced, is I also don't know that he ever put the word out privately through his people that, hey, if you offer this, I'll take it. And so sometimes you're dancing a little bit there.
The offer comes when you're gonna take it, so it's a little.
Now I do think when, obviously when Hunter Yurachek hears from John Tyson that I can get John Calipari, I do think that changed, and that did happen. I think when that happened, that completely changed everything to, okay, this is going to take us 48 to 72 hours. The media's on this. Let's stall. And Chris Beard's name was flying around. And let's face it, Chris being able to use that for a little bit of leverage maybe to get just a little bit more out of Ole Miss, that probably played a role. I know that they let Jerome Tang use Arkansas as leverage. Jerome Tang never had the Arkansas job. Never, ever, ever. That was never offered. That report that he turned it down is absolutely false.
Right.
And that's nothing against Jerome Tang. It's just by that point, they were down the road with Calipari, and obviously they got who they wanted, and he wasn't going to say no to John Tyson at that point, because that's who was going to put up a lot of the NIL to make them assemble the roster that they assembled. And so but to your point, and I think I completely agree with you, like I do wonder if, and hope people don't get all worked up on this because we're in a hypothetical, and where I'm going is going to be more positive. If a year ago the Arkansas job had been put in his lap, I think it's close. But a year later, I agree with you. I think he actually, and I'm kind of educated on this, and Chase might even be more educated than me because he knows a lot more people here than I do. I think he views the Ole Miss job better today than he did this time a year ago. Significantly better. Now, is so much better that he turned Indiana down? I have no idea. I don't know what Indiana's NIL is. I don't know what that administration's like. I don't know whether he wants to go to a place like Bloomington where he can't do anything. Like, I mean, you can. One of the great parts about Oxford, and this might not apply to Lane because he's the football coach, but Andy was able to go out here and people left him alone. Kermit was able to go out here and people leave him alone. Chris Beard goes out here and people leave him alone. I saw him in what's the name of the little speakeasy in the Oliver Hotel?
Yeah, I don't know the name. Pretty neat spot, by the way.
Yeah,
it's slipping my mind right now with the name.
Yeah, when Campbell's boyfriend was here around Christmas, we went there one night, and as we were leaving, he was walking in, and nobody was bothering Chris Beard. It was the night before a game, if I recall.
I mean, I've seen him sit at Funky's for 3 hours and nobody go up and talk to him.
He won't be able to do that in Bloomington, Indiana.
Right.
And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't sit here and say that matters or that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
No, it's just different.
And I think the piece on Indiana that is interesting is, like, if you're just a sports fan and don't know anything about Indiana, that academically is a lot better school than people probably realize. Like, probably a top 20 business school in the country. And I'm not saying there's an apples to apples comparison here, but the more serious endowments are and schools are about academics and stuff like that, you do wonder where his past plays in a little bit.
Yes.
As well.
Yep.
But yes, I do think, and I'll emphasize again, I think there are personal relationships here that matter to him a lot. And I also think, on your point of the better job, and this is deja vu with Lane as well, it's the commitment that Ole Miss made after a short-term run. So, hey, Lane, obviously there was the Auburn piece, but for Beard, it's like the NIL increase they got 1 to 2, and then the fact that he's got an AD that's a basketball guy that gets it. It's a lot of things that you end up walking away from. Now there's a lot of jobs I do think he'd take, but I think it's becoming kind of the Lane thing of, like, okay, Lane, that number of jobs is, you can count on one hand probably.
The Venn diagram, at this small in the middle. How many he's taking, you will take.
Lane's is crazy small.
It's a sliver. I mean, nothing.
It's small.
Well, I mean, Bracken, right. to your point about Beard, not only did Keith give him that deal, he gave him 2 deals. He went to him early, negotiated a new contract, got one done, and then when Arkansas came, upped it again. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like, hey, here's the perfunctory thing. It was very aggressive at the front end, and then they did whatever they had to do to put that away at whatever risk they thought there was.
Well, and to Keith's credit, I don't think he decided to sit around and wait to see, hey, what I think Ole Miss was kind of I'm having trouble with words today, Chase. When you get in something's on the path and you sort of get in the middle of it. I'm blanking. I'm losing my mind today. I'm sorry. But I think Ole Miss kind of got active in it and didn't allow it in the event that it was going to get to Hunter Yurachek putting a contract, and I know it doesn't work this way, but a contract in front of Chris. He stopped. He put up a roadblock on that a little bit.
Yeah. Now, I will say this, and maybe I'm being overly ambitious here, but if the next 2.5 weeks, so now till Vandy game, go how I think they will, meaning you punched your ticket and then some, I think you have a contract on his desk, another one. And the reason why I say that is I think that with all this rev share stuff and where revenue and expenses are landing, et cetera, what you now can do is you probably can work a little bit more to, hey, continue to increase the salary, but also increase the buyout a little bit to where this small portion of schools, it's not going to be that big of a factor. So if he ends up leaving, like, I don't know what the number is, let's say it's $3 million on the buyout. If that increases to 5 or 6, and I know agents work as well, but like you're getting something from it on the back end rather than playing the game against Indiana or whoever it is come March and April. You may have to play it again. I just think there's something interesting there of like, hey, could you kind of quiet the noise of the distraction and get the buyout up by putting another contract on his table, before March?
Yeah, I mean, and they've been pretty good about that. I mean, like, Keith got involved with Lane's deal, even when I think there were some people around Ole Miss that rightfully, I might say, I thought he was gone. I mean, I think they thought he was gone, but they didn't just roll over. I mean, they tried to get ahead of it and do what they had to do what they needed to do to keep him, and they'll do that with Beard as well. I have no doubt about that. What the part you just don't know with any of these guys is what they want to do, and that's the part that you can't really control either. Like, you can't make somebody go, someone's going to leave, and you make them stay. It doesn't work like that. But I would suspect that they'll be proactive. That was the word I was looking for. They'll be proactive in, keeping him. He's done a great job. And look at the environment around that arena. You've invested in that arena. The sport matters. I mean, we do this debate all the time, and I despise it. Chase already knows what I'm about to say. The whole baseball or basketball debate is so stupid. It is the dumbest debate because the answer's both. But at the end of the day, the basketball, the college basketball piece at a school like this is so big potentially that you just have to go for it in that sport. You just must. Doesn't mean you can't go for it in baseball too, because at a place like Ole Miss where it matters, you have to. But you can't. The basketball part, just simply you must pursue it. And I think in many ways he's proven. I mean, I'm sure Andy sometimes looks at this and goes, well, holy shit, man, if you'd have given me the money for a staff and I'd had that arena the whole time and I'd had that kind of a budget, who knows what I would have done. But that's a hypothetical. There's some proof of concept that's starting to happen. The one thing I'm curious to see, and I'm sure he is too, is can he finish the deal on like the high 4, 5-star, top 40 kids in the country kind of recruit? Can he get those kinds of players? Because if you listen to him, Bracken, and you've heard this too, he'll tell you that to win the SEC, you've got to have NBA players.
Yeah.
And this is a guy who wants to win big. I mean, he talks about Monday night. He's been to Monday night, been to overtime on Monday night. He wants to win, so he's going to want to be someplace, whether that's Ole Miss or elsewhere, where he can recruit NBA players.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. And look, if a blue blood comes calling and they offer, he's out. I do, but I'd go back and there's a difference between a top 40 and the top 5
Give me an
player.
Give me an example of a blue blood. What do you when you say that? I'm curious. Like,
right now, I mean, Duke, Carolina, Kansas.
Yeah.
I mean, I put Michigan State in that category. I mean, you look at Final Fours.
Those are far fetched, though.
Do you buy the Barnes retiring at Tennessee at the end of the year?
I've heard it enough to where you have to listen. So I don't know if I buy it or not, but I've heard it enough to where you have to listen. And that's
a job that I would be really interested to see what happened, because I think that job would be remarkably attractive nationally.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually my favorite arena in the SEC too. I think it's very underrated. It's a great arena. But on the high school piece, my point more so is, yes, the top 5 players, or there's always going to be the impact of the program history and NBA guys. But your question of can he get them to Ole Miss or not? I kind of think that ball is more in his court than Ole Miss from a commitment standpoint's court. Like he in my opinion has a top 10 staff in the country. He has Mark Adams.
Bruce Pearl.
I mean, if Mark Adams was, what's the award Pete Golding was up for this year?
The Broyles Award.
The Broyles Award, yeah.
The Broyles Award. Like Mark Adams is like top 3 on that if they have that in basketball. He literally is a defensive coordinator for basketball.
Yep.
He's top 3 in the game. You've got Flanagan, who's been a D1 head coach, Pinkins, who's coached at like 6 P5 schools. Brian Berg was a D1 head coach before he joined Ole Miss's staff. Wynn was the interim head coach of the – I mean, you go through the whole gambit. It's a really strong staff. So I get, hey, the NBA – there is an NBA presence piece, but I think landing the top high school guys, I think that's more – that ball's in his court more than Ole Miss at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm curious on the Tennessee thing because I'm not just going rumor crazy, but like there's a way undercurrent rumor that Tennessee is going to try to poach Nate Oates.
Yeah, I don't know if I could see that.
Yeah, I don't. He's got a really good gig at Bama.
Yeah, I kind of, Michigan State's always the thing with him.
With Nate, yeah.
But I also, I kind of wonder what his NBA aspirations are like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can see it. Speaking of NBA, we're past the trade deadline. Give me if you had to predict the Western Conference and Eastern Conference finals right now, who would you pick and who would get to the finals?
Well, you don't want to talk about the Luka trade anymore, Neal?
Oh, we can talk about the Luka trade all we want. I love
Neal's
that.
like kind of giddy about the Luka trade.
I kind of love that trade because it doesn't make any sense at all. And you know me, I'm kind of becoming a conspiracy theorist and not really, people chill. I mean, kind of. I mean, someone's going to have to explain motivations to me about why Dallas did what Dallas did and got just nothing for it. Nothing. They got AD and a pick in 2029 that, I mean, you're banking, if you think that pick's valuable, you're banking that the Lakers are going to suck. Further, the Thunder own the pick swap in 2028 with Dallas. I mean, and in 2028, the Mavericks, even if they're good now, are going to be old then. I mean, Clay, Kyrie, AD will all be 34 or older by then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird move for them. They traded a 25-year-old superstar.
Yeah, I don't understand it. And Cuban, like, I'll admittedly, I don't follow NBA as religiously as college, but Cuban, like, divested, like, he's not involved at all, or he's still like, hey, got a few shares and sits at the table some now. What is Mark Cuban?
I think he's got a small share, but I don't think he's involved at all in the day-to-day anymore.
It feels like that thing doesn't come close to happening if he's still involved.
Yeah, because, I mean, he publicly said Luka was like basically the love of his life. I mean, essentially.
Yeah,
he made a big joke about it, but I mean, you could tell that he was very attached to Luka and loved the idea of Luka being a lifelong Mav like Dirk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a buddy in Dallas who we haven't heard from in like 3 or 4 days. We're starting to get worried about him after that trade. He's gone silent in group messages and stuff like that. But hey, I do have to hop. But good conversation with y'all. Appreciate y'all as always.
Appreciate you.
Thanks, bud.
Grind says Lakers, Thunder in the West, Cavs, Knicks. Not Celtics in the East. He's got Lakers, Knicks in the finals.
Oh.
Boy, NBC would love that.
You would not love that. You'd struggle with that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Young teams, Thunder are young. Young teams, sometimes there's growing pains. If they made the finals this year, they're way ahead of schedule.
I'm looking at the top 25 basketball teams in the country, and I mean, blue blood is such an interesting term because there's a lot on the list that are good every single year, but you wouldn't necessarily go, oh, blue blood. Like, they're in their era more than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Marquette. Like, they're not a blue blood. Stock is a good coach, and they win a lot of games. Like, that's what they do. I mean, Purdue has been really good under Matt Painter. They're not a blue blood. Like,
yeah.
You know? I mean, Auburn. Duke. Houston, no.
No.
Florida, no. Purdue, Iowa State, Michigan State, yes. A&M, Marquette, St. John's, Texas Tech, Kentucky, yes. Missouri, Kansas, yes. Memphis, Maryland, UConn, yes. Arizona, Wisconsin. That's the top 25.
Yeah, Arizona's blue bloody.
They're blue bloodish. They got some tint to them. They got some purple in them for sure. Mississippi State, Illinois, Michigan, Ole Miss. That's the rest of the top 25.
Yeah, no.
There's no Indiana in there. But Indiana's only been to one Final Four since 92.
Yeah, no.
They finished second in kind of an upset year with Mike Davis in 02.
I mean, my theory on this, just because you once did doesn't mean you always will.
You can lose your blue blood status.
Yeah, Nebraska football says hello.
Yeah.
Hey, who do we have?
Hey, this is Mark in Columbus.
Mark.
I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Like, I've talked to you guys since before Tennessee came up here and, got their skulls caved in.
Mm-hmm.
It was cold.
I went to that game for 5 minutes and left.
You got pretty cheap tickets, though, didn't you? Like, so at least you got that out.
I paid like $25, 40 with tip. I walked in there. I saw that first try. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to watch this from my couch." I know where this is heading.
How obnoxious has Columbus, Ohio been since the title?
Oh gosh,
it was bad for a week. Now I'm fine. It was rough. Like, I was rooting. Like, Texas should have been. Well, that was a coin flippy game.
It was winnable.
Like, I thought Texas was dominating the second half. They were exposing Ohio State's problems on the offensive line because they had the monsters up front to do it. And what Al Golden was doing on third and 11, running like goal line, is just because he was give up 10 yards, you're getting the ball back, dude. You're probably winning the game because he had all the momentum. Like, and he's running this goal line defense on third and 11, gives up the big play to Jeremiah or whatever. But yeah, I mean, got to deal with it. It wasn't very fun here after we got our skulls caved in by them, but we got to see what the top of the fort looked like. What now?
How far is the Tennessee basketball team going this season?
We're a shooter short.
You are.
But the way we defend, like, I think that travels. Like, I think Tennessee Ole Miss is going to be like first to 50 because that's going to be a defensive war.
This morning, I just got. If you love rock fights, that's your game.
Because Barnes and Beer got no problem getting it down in the muck. Like, and
you hope for really good, understanding officials for that game that don't just go, God, and we shoot 138 free throws.
Because both teams are going to be physical, and you're not going to score in the paint, period. But I think we're a shooter short. But our defense, it travels. As always in the NCAA tournament, depends on matchup. And I think, like, a lot of these SEC teams, once they get out of playing these teams in the league, are going to kind of thrive. Because you look at, like, the middle of the Big Ten, like a team like Ole Miss. And I watch a lot of Ohio State basketball, and they're very, very bubbly. Like, Ole Miss would beat Ohio State by 15 points. I mean, it just wouldn't be close. These middle of the pack Big Ten teams aren't very good. Iowa State, Houston are elite. Duke's obviously elite, but the rest of the country can't really. They don't have the athletes that the SEC does. In my opinion,
I tend to agree. I hate doing this because I end up being wrong, and then I get mad at myself for buying the hype and getting so wrong. But I've watched a lot of SEC basketball now, and I could see
played a non-conference schedule too.
I could see a
Neal,
bunch of
Missouri's good.
Missouri's good. Look, I'm looking at the list here. Like, I think Georgia's kind of good. I think State's good. I think Oklahoma's got a really good player and a really good coach. I think Arkansas is good. I do. You change one possession in Arkansas season and let them get a stop on OU and win that game. We have a totally different perception of them right now because they'd be 4-4 in the league. We'd be going, oh, see, look, here they go. And it's that simple. I mean, I think Ole Miss is good. I do. I think Ole Miss is good. I mean, sometimes I wonder, do you have enough offense? But defensively, they're elite. I mean, we're what, 20 games into the season now? Mm-hmm. They're elite. A&M's really good. Missouri's going to be a great game. Should be a great game, I should say. I mean, Bama's very good. I think Florida's a contender. Tennessee's a shooter short, but if they get the right draw, that might not burn them until the third weekend. And then I think Auburn's an elite team.
In Bama.
Yeah, I think Auburn's better.
And
No,
like
they are, but
the other team,
get back.
if they could find shooting, I would not count Patino out because they do everything else. They just can't shoot. They can't throw it in the ocean. But they slam the glass. They defend. It's Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
It's like I'm never doubting that guy.
Yeah.
As far as nationally. But you all talking about Barnes. Yeah, kind of the word is that this is it. It's always been kind of pointed to like he's going to try to. When Zakai's done, he's going to be kind of he just adores that kid. And but there's with this new law or this new rule, there might be a chance that Zakai comes back. I don't know. But as far as like replacement would go, he hasn't had enough success, so it's never going to happen. But it was always thought that Kim English was going to come back here, come back to Tennessee and be the coach because Barnes got him those jobs at George Mason and Providence, but he hasn't been any good, so that's kind of out the window. They can't sell that.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know where it would go, but I think it's a really good job. I think it's the outside of Kentucky. I'm telling you, like nobody cares more. Maybe Arkansas. It means a lot there. Like Basilio does 2-hour post-game call-in shows every basketball game, and he's not the only one. Like it matters. So you'll have the support from the fan base as far as in your program. So it'll be a very attractive job. But yeah, I think I want him like last year I wanted, but like not just for the fans, but I really wanted for him to make a Final Four before he's in. He really deserves it. Like I think he's a damn good coach. If he gets a bad rap because of the tournament record, he's got some bad luck. He's laid some eggs, but like there's a big debate always about who would you rather have, Pearl or Barnes? Well, for one game, yeah, probably give me Bruce. But to run my program, it's not even close. Like the guy's a pro. Just as far as just running my program, wow. I'll take Rick Barnes over Bruce Pearl.
If I got a school and you tell me I can have one of those two guys, I'm good. Whichever one.
I mean, and that's nothing against Bruce. Nothing against Bruce, but as far as just running my program, player development, never going to be any nonsense with your program. You're an AD. You're never going to get a phone call that your coach has done something or your players and you're going to win a lot. I'm going to take Rick Barnes over Bruce. Win one game, yeah, I'm probably taking Pearl, and that's always a debate in Knoxville.
They're both they're both elite. That's about it. You're used to, I think with guys like that, you're splitting hairs.
Yeah, and
I like both people. I mean, I've dealt with both people individually, and they're great. So, I mean,
I was never really a huge Pearl guy. Like I always thought Bruce was kind of all about Bruce. I respect the hell out of him as a coach. I think he's awesome. Just I always thought it was a little bit too much all about Bruce, but it's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I think some of that got humbled out though with the NCAA thing and out of the game. I think he's a really nice guy now to people like outside media and stuff, like opponent media. He's terrific. So is Rick.
And I like him. I like Bruce. I just always thought it was kind of always all about Bruce when he was in Tennessee. Like that's just my thing. But like at Beard, like this Indiana thing at Beard, I think Indiana's way too stuffy to do that because of quote unquote morality, whatever that means. I'm rolling my eyes at it. They're stuffy over there. Like it'd be like, no offense to Ole Miss fans. If I'm Indiana, I'm already calling his people now. I don't know if he'd take it or not, but that's my first choice. And I think he'd absolutely murder the Big Ten. And as a Knight disciple, it'd kind of be perfect. He's very tight with Pat Knight still, but
I agree with Bracken a minute ago. If I'm Ole Miss, I'm getting ahead of it for sure. I just kind of wonder, like, Ole Miss gave him a chance when nobody else did, and I am curious to know, like, to see how much ultimately that means. Not saying that's going to be
for sure.
Not saying that's going to be the trump card, but I do think it has significance.
And he, I think him and Hurley are the list as far as the two best coaches in the country. I think they're notch, and Bruce is right there, but those two guys are the two best in the country, in my opinion. From what as far as pure basketball coaches go. I mean, the dude's just an absolute flat-out stud. No, but Tennessee, like, back to the playoff real quick, and I'll get off. Like, we got to see what the top of the sport looked like when we played Ohio State, and we got humbled because I actually thought we were going to win the game. I knew how dysfunctional Ohio State was at the time. And then in the first series happened, I saw that prediction ain't coming true. But Tennessee, like, you got to decide, that College World Series title costs money. Having a top 5 basketball program costs money. Like, is going 10-2 and making the playoff and getting beat in the first round good enough for your football program? If it is, that's fine. But maybe you have to have some decisions being made. Like, Christian Moore last year in baseball wasn't playing for free. Like, that guy cost $500,000 or whatever.
Well, they're raising prices 16%. They're putting the 10% talent fee in. All good, Mark.
Yeah, well, we're all good.
Yeah.
Squeeze the fans even more, Dr. Danny.
Yeah. I know.
How'd that
All
go
right, guys.
How'd that go over there, by the way?
As long as you're winning, I don't think they care.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But you better win.
Yeah.
It does
I mean,
ratchet that
Thompson
up.
Boyne's full. Thompson Boyne's full. And I don't know if they've, like, from a football perspective, they got to get Nico some help. And I don't know if they've done that. Like, you got to get that kid some I think Nico's really good. Like, from a physical tool standpoint, I think the kid can go 1-1 in the draft.
I do too.
But he's got to get some help. Like, they don't have, you saw it against the top of the sport. They didn't have, none of those receivers couldn't separate. That offensive line couldn't block. Like, it's not good enough. And I don't know if Heupel's got the stones to make the moves he needs to make. He's very good, but he doesn't fire anybody. He doesn't really, process anybody. Like, you saw what it looked like. You got to see it. Do you want to get there? Can you get there? I don't know. I don't know if Tennessee's capable of that or not. You would think they would be, but you got to be willing to put your money where your mouth is, in a way. The sad thing is here too. I'm not kissing up to Ole Miss fans. I think Ole Miss had the defensive front to hang with Ohio State. Could they have kept up with them, offensively? I don't know, but they had the monsters up front to cause them problems, and that's why. Like, I really wish Ole Miss would have made it. Obviously, you all do too. You're fans of them, but because I think they could have hung with Ohio State and maybe beat them, but we'll never know.
Probably would have been good for business too. I mean,
been okay.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have sucked.
I mean,
Wouldn't have sucked.
We don't build the business model that way for that very reason, but yes, we would have been able to market that. Probably would have sold some subs.
All right, y'all. Good talking to you.
Appreciate you, Mark.
I was doing a little research while you were talking, and we've talked about Kentucky a ton since the other night. 3 of their 8 worst single-game defensive efficiencies since the start of the 96 season have happened in the last month.
Ooh.
3 of the top 8 in the last month.
Well, you've now seen them in person.
The top 4 have all happened in the last 13 months. Ole Miss was the 4th worst defensive efficiency Kentucky has had since 1996.
Well, the
Florida
Alabama
last month was number 2.
Was the Alabama game this year?
Number 8.
Yeah. Ooh,
the years on this 10-1. 2022, 2008, 2013, 2025, 2024, 2025. And then I don't know what the hell I see it now. They lost to Duke in November of 2018. I don't remember this game. They gave up 118 points to the Blue Devils.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Cooper Flag was 11.
Yeah, I kind of want to see like a stat.
What's up, Grind?
Yo, man. Enjoying the show, man. What the hell is Mark talking about? Talking about if Rick Barnes, your coach, you ain't never got to worry about getting a call? You're damn right. You ain't got to worry about getting a call about going to the Final Four. I promise you that. What is he talking about, man? You can look, if that's what you want to do, you can sit your ass at home and be with your good grades. We finna take our rowdies fighting on the plane. No having since his asses to the Final Four. That's what we gonna do.
Are you not upset,
I
Grind,
tell you that
fighting
much.
on planes and missing church and doing Lord knows what else?
Chad Baker Mazara's cussing
Man,
officials. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. It's just,
Janiah Broom's like doing his best Christian Leitner impression. Like Leitner's likable compared to Broom. Like, what are you talking about?
Just a bad look. Just a terrible look.
No. Hey, look, man, these boys need to rough it up some more. We got Florida coming into town. I need to hear some breaking news or something before the game.
Kentucky would like give their entire inheritances every bit to look like Auburn right now because they are so mad that Pope is a nice guy. They want all the stuff
Bro, what?
like right now.
2 weeks ago, they loved
Chase,
it.
what?
Now we sit in the crowd.
Yeah, I was about to,
they
it
pissed.
was all good just a week ago.
I mean,
he walked out of Thompson Bowling saying it was confidence.
He's in Starkville. He goes up
Grind,
into the
we need that
concourse.
second round loss to St. John's in the tournament. That's what we need.
Dude, y'all. Nobody, I feel like nobody gave Cal the credit that man deserved except for y'all, bro. That man had that blaze. As soon as they put the camera on him, I said, does that blazer got some Kentucky blue in it?
Yeah.
And I was like, no way. And I was like, you know what, bro? He ain't finna do this. He ain't finna come out here and do this. And then the man made adjustments. He had their coaching. And I'm like, bro, I'm like, dude.
Yeah. He was stepping back in time a little. It was like prime time.
Yes.
And then he follows it up last night. I mean, everybody's like, they're going to have a letdown.
Yeah.
No letdown.
No, me and you was on that train, buddy.
Yeah.
Me and you was on that train.
I kind of thought I saw something in that Kentucky game. I mean, again, I think there's a lot of people in our field that just look at the SEC record and they go, they suck. And I'm like, dude, they're too talented to suck. Like, stop. You got to look at the players. And I mean, they got some dudes and they brought a whole bunch of people together and he didn't do a great job early and he had to figure out what to do with certain people and they put a lot of it on Fland and, but like I said a minute ago, I mean,
I'm sorry, but I'm going.
And
what you were saying?
This with Ole Miss real quick too. By the way, you changed like 2 possessions of Ole Miss's season right now. And instead of, what are they, 6-3?
6-4.
6-4?
Yeah.
They're 8-2. I mean, they're like 2 possessions from being a monumental national story with that roster. No offense to everybody on that roster.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not trying to belittle anybody.
But it ain't Auburn or Alabama's roster.
But I go to the games and there's no NBA scouts there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild. Like before people do the whole.
The Jazz were there Tuesday.
Were the Jazz there?
Yeah.
Oh, Kentucky was there.
Kentucky was there.
But no. This guy? I mean, before anybody does though, well, what kind of coach? But Chris Beard's elite. I'm just saying. Period. You can do the defense thing. You can do whatever you want to do.
Now I will say this. When you this was a couple hand raised guys ago, and you was like, I don't want to say it, but look, you and Bracken hashed it out real well about the Indiana thing. But I will say, man, when I was watching the game, and he did his halftime interview, and he said, "Yeah, my mentor Bob Knight always said aggressive and favors the victor." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Dude," I'm like, "Oh my goodness, don't tell me Indiana on the brain already." But no, but I get. I get what
the Knight thing is legit with him because he and Pat are really tight from the Texas Tech days. So I mean, his Bob Knight is Texas Tech Bob Knight.
If you were just a random Iowa fan watching that game, you was probably like, dude, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? I mean, because I want to say that night they just got drilled by Wisconsin by like 20 points or something like that. And I'm like, dude. But that's the situation for them, the headshot and whatnot. My thing with Kentucky is that fan base is very, very arrogant. They believe that Mark Pope, the kind of team Auburn has this year, the team that's breaking all these KenPom records, Mark Pope is going to be able to recruit teams like that every year at Kentucky. Just give them some time. I'm like, bro, like what? Like, dude, have they always been like this air of arrogance?
Kentucky, yes,
in every way.
Think Alabama football, except maybe a little more conceited.
And it's as if they feel as if they have a God-given right to go win basketball games.
Well,
It's as if
they do feel like they have a God-given right to win basketball games. Have you never gone to the tournament? Like I told people, I said this on the Siskey show today. This is a word to the wise. When Kentucky plays on Thursday probably, if you're smart, and I know for fans this is hard to not be obnoxious, go wearing neutral colors. Don't go wearing Tennessee orange or your bright red Ole Miss thing. Nope. Just leave it in the damn hotel for a minute.
Put green on. Nobody's green.
Just put you on a brown jacket and stand outside the arena in the minutes after Kentucky loses on that Thursday and say, ready? Man, that sucks that you guys lost. That sucks. Are you staying for the rest of the tournament? Because I'm looking for tickets. They're liable to just give them.
They will just hand you tickets. They will be mid-court, third row.
Don't be an ass. Don't go, hey, you drove all the way here, up south, bitch. No, dumbass. Just have a little strategic element to it, and you will get tickets for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the SEC tournament for basically free. You might have to go buy the guy a beer. Buy the guy a beer and let him tell you how horrible his life is for a minute and go, yeah, Matt sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. And then 30 minutes later, go, ha, and go to the arena. Don't be an idiot. I've watched people do this. The idiots don't get the tickets. The people that are like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I know it sucks to come all the way here and they lose this early. What are you going to do? I'm looking for tickets. Are you by chance, are you selling yours? I've watched guys hand them ticket books because they're not staying. Once they lose, that's going to be a hot ticket Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Now, I will say this. One thing that Jeffrey made a good point this morning on the podcast. That, how there, there's going to be some teams or coaches like, hey man, we may not even want to play this thing out. I think every fan base is going to show up to Nashville kind of like stress free, not putting that much on their team, except for Kentucky.
Yep.
I think Kentucky fans are going to be the tightest little bunches in the whole arena, and I think every win is probably going to make it worse for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there might be one or two teams that are there feeling like they need to win one game, but yeah, that's going to be the one fan base that's like this is the end of the world. Everybody else is going to be pretty.
I agree. You guys want to admit? I guess since we're halfway through league play, and you guys that gave us your SEC predictor order to finish, would you like to hear what you guys predicted?
Sure.
I saw it. Neal's actually cooking with some grease. It looked like.
Yeah, Neal actually, we're gonna do you first, Chase, because
I'm struggling.
Even after
go ahead and hammer the non-basketball.
I mean, Auburn beat Houston in Texas. They beat Iowa State out in Maui. They beat North Carolina out in Maui. But you know who you predicted to finish first in the SEC? The Tennessee Volunteers.
I picked Tennessee.
So there you go.
Auburn's second grind. It's not like I picked you to be a damn 12 seed. I mean, come on.
No, you did.
It's in the way. It's you and Hugh, and just can't let it go.
Come on, man.
I know.
But no, you had Tennessee, Auburn, Bama, Florida.
Florida?
Yeah.
That was good.
Then Oklahoma.
They were undefeated at the time. I bought in.
They were. I bought in. Good point.
You bought in. Then Texas A&M.
Good pick.
That's fine.
Kentucky.
I mean, they're around there. It's not off. They beat Duke.
Kentucky would be the 10 seed today.
Yeah.
Now, I will give you that. Like, their schedule makes no sense, but okay. Then you have Arkansas, then Texas.
Yeah, those were the two
Mississippi
flashing lights I had in the middle.
You might be okay on a couple of those. I'm just telling you. We'll see.
I bought into how Texas looks on the court because they look like $1 million damn dollars. Like they've got everything on the court where you go, hey,
they do.
They should be all right.
They're athletic as hell.
They are.
And then after Mississippi State, you had Ole Miss, Missouri, Georgia, LSU, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt.
Okay. Yeah,
it's not terrible.
Now,
it's okay.
Now, Neal,
I didn't believe in South
Neal,
Carolina at all. I undervalued Vandy and Missouri, but everybody undervalued Missouri. I'm not holding myself to that one.
That's true.
They went 0-18 last year. I moved them up a few spots.
That's excusable. It's a mulligan.
So it was.
yeah.
I get like a C+. It was all right.
Okay, it's fair.
Yeah, I give you a C+ because for the most part they may be off, but they're kind of like all in the right little section. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine.
You got everybody kind of little section off, except for Ole Miss. Now you did Ole Miss dirty. You predicted them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the SEC.
And what would they? But today they would be what seed
he's
today?
Such a negative
They'd be the
person.
7 seed today, Grind. 8.
He thinks they should shut it down and put that money into baseball. Just give him a break.
No, man. No, I honestly, what? No, in Ole Miss, aren't they fifth right now in the league? Aren't they right behind Missouri?
Ole Miss right now would be the 7 seed in the tournament, I guess, based on tiebreakers and whatnot.
Okay. And now, Neal, you had Auburn, Bama, Tennessee, Florida, Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Kentucky, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, LSU, and South Carolina.
Pretty good.
So, I mean,
solid B.
Oh, it's every bit of that. It's higher than that. He did well.
Man, I would give it. I'd give it close to an A, man.
That's a B+, A-.
Yeah, I'm missing on Ole Miss a little. I undervalued Ole Miss a little bit, probably because I had seen warts. And then
I mean, you got 1 and 16 correct. You nailed 1 and 16 on the head. Look like you're gonna have 2 on the head. So I mean,
you know
what I'm saying?
He's got 15 on the head too. LSU.
Yeah, LSU. I mean, dog. Look. And you've been going 3-0 on the pickle.
The NIL money that I give them, I just thought it would be better than that. And I underestimated Missouri, but everybody else did too. So Chase gets a mulligan on that. I do as well. Dennis Gates has done a great job, and I didn't see that coming.
No, yeah, I didn't.
There's people who cover me who didn't see that coming. Like Gabe didn't see that coming. He's been stunned.
I mean, I don't know how you could at 0-18. But I mean, you know, that's just a credit to that guy. The thing I was going to get your opinion on before I let you guys go. You know what my problem was? I had to think about it. What my problem was with college football this year.
Okay. Hugh Freeze is the coach.
And not just Auburn football, football, but I mean, yeah. I mean, come on, Neal. That's the catalyst of everything. After that, you know what I mean. It's the fruit of the poisonous tree.
Yeah.
But
be blessed.
In y'all's opinion, what was the most memorable regular season SEC game from this past year? The one where you were like, "Oh man, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that game."
Most memorable football game from this season?
Mm-hmm.
The end of Alabama.
From this regular season, from this SEC regular season.
I mean, Neal's got a possible point there.
The one that sticks out that I covered that I remember the most is there's 2, Ole Miss LSU and Ole Miss Georgia.
Yeah, Mark says it. I think he's right. Just if you told me just as a person and I don't pick an Ole Miss game, it's Georgia Alabama.
Yeah, in terms of
the comeback, the whole deal. Because I was even thinking Georgia Tech. Really into that. The late with the overtime.
That was a big time game now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you see, because I mean, honestly, for whatever reason, like I can easily remember that Ole Miss LSU game when it was Jackson Dart versus Jaden Daniels. I can remember the Alabama game when it was, you know, in Alabama and Tennessee when you had, you know, Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker. It just, I don't know. This past season just felt different, you know, for whatever reason. But you know, hey, maybe that's just me. But like this college basketball, there's going to be games that I remember because I mean, already it feels like this college basketball season has given more than what I put in. And I'm not even just talking about just Auburn basketball. I mean, you just had great SEC basketball and great college basketball going on. But
There's some recency bias there, obviously. And then the other thing about it is that when the game is well officiated, it's a 2-hour, 5-minute product. And one of the things that works against college football is the games drag so long that you almost kind of forget them.
And quantity. You get so many more games, you get more opportunities for really memorable games.
True.
Yeah, true.
And I think you watch basketball better because you're not if you're a fan of an SEC team, so you can tell me because you're obviously much more of a fan than either one of us because the way we cover it and we work is I think in basketball, one game is not ending your world at all. So you're able to watch a day without like getting down because your team got its ass kicked or something went on. Like you're just sort of chilling.
If Auburn loses to Florida on Saturday, it's not the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think they will. But yeah,
really?
I mean, I don't like that. It's at Auburn. I just don't like that matchup and man, we gotta lose. It's better to lose now than in the tournament. Just go ahead and get it out the way. Just you know, like
wouldn't be the first one.
Anthony Davis.
No, man,
Anthony Davis arriving in the arena, but he's out tonight. He's got an abdomen injury.
Man,
Rico's Davis. Anthony Day to Davis.
That
Tatum's
I think y'all done a good y'all done a good job in rehashing it out. But Chase, I will say I kind of chuckled a little bit because it didn't hit me until this morning when you had asked Jeffrey like, why did they do this? And your voice, the way you said it, I was like, oh shit, he does cheer for the Mavs. And so I kind of did laugh for a little bit. I was like, oh, I forgot to cheer for the Mavs a little bit.
Because I don't care about the NBA as a whole at all, but I did kind of like pulling for the Mavs in the playoffs, and it just went away all at once. It was like, well, hell, there goes that. Okay. That was fun. I mean,
I'm going to say this. As a Spurs fan and as a LeBron fan, watching the Mavs just say F it, oh, yes. I mean,
you're set up.
That was the.
You're gonna be all right.
You know, Nico heard Chase talk about this, and he said, "Hey, hold my beer."
Oh, I mean,
what this?
I bet they're buddies.
They probably are.
I bet they hang out.
Nico called Mickey and said, "Let me tell you what I'm thinking about doing." And he was like, "Do it. Show him."
And I happened to watch that Thunder game last night when they played the I mean, y'all smoked them, man. SGA, basically all I'm saying is, bro, SGA looks so good, bro. No homo, no diddy. I don't mean it like that.
I mean,
But now I will say the whole little interview thing y'all do after the game, y'all come on, bro. Why everybody got to show up for the interview like little kids, man, on the playground? What's going on?
Camaraderie. It's great chemistry and culture.
You're showing your youth.
A little bit.
You're showing your youth.
Making your teammates cheer in the dugout, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then the other thing I was like, it was kind of because I used to have dreads, and so I was like, well, damn, even if I was a good basketball player, I still can play with the Thunder because I don't got dreads no more. Because it's like all of the black dudes got braids or dreads for the Thunder. I just found that fun. I was like, well, damn.
I mean, are you trying to
found that
handsome man? I mean, Shea looks like a model out there. Chet
I wish I had Shea.
Doesn't have dreads.
Well, I didn't see Chet wasn't standing around with Shea because I was like, well, hold on, did they make 7 Sheas? And I was like, well, no, they didn't. I was like, that's Jay Williams and all you guys that you talk about. But yeah, so I mean, look, you got a nice team. I want you to be happy, celebrate. I think you got, fun years ahead of you. And I don't even have any hate towards the Thunder. So we good there. We good on the same page.
You might as well not hate them because we got all your picks. We got everybody's picks. All the picks. All the picks. Got like 5 picks in this draft. 10 picks, 20 picks. Today,
well, man, I just want to say
more picks. They just added more picks today. That's all they do. Add picks. Made a trade with Charlotte where they traded a 2029 pick for a 2030 pick. And the answer, like, why'd they do that? It's like, why not?
Sure.
Yeah, they're going to do all that just to draft Eric Van Pearson in a couple years. So they're going to trade all the picks for Eric Van Pearson.
They're gonna get that. They're gonna get that. Whoever the big phenom is in 2028, they're gonna pick swap with Dallas and take him.
I believe that, man. I just want to say thank y'all for taking my call. And Neal, man, thank you for sharing that story with us. It was a great story.
Thank you.
And, I don't have any children, but as a son, I felt it. It made me move a little bit, and so I just want to say thank you, for just being open and sharing that with us because you didn't have to do that, and so it was a great story, and just good luck to Carson in his future endeavors, and good job to you for being such a great dad to him, man.
Well, it's very
So,
he's a great kid. I'm very, very fortunate to be his dad. Very lucky to be his dad. But I appreciate the sentiment very much.
That's no problem, man. You guys have a blessed one. I'll keep enjoying the show.
All right, later, bud.
All right.
It's the most basketball we've ever talked in a single show ever.
Probably true to that.
Ever.
It's been all hoops.
I mean, it has been literally, except for a little Tennessee football, all hoops.
League's good. I mean, we looked at Saturday's schedule. Every game is interesting in some way.
Well,
there's something to every game on Saturday.
Here's the thing Ole Miss fans are going to find is that the tournament's fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you're got a shot.
Yeah.
And it's, hey, look, in the tournament's crapshoot now. It's draw.
Everybody got a shot and everybody might go home on Thursday.
It's draw and stuff, but the tournament is a lot of fun. Ginger made a good point. She did correct herself because I was going to say, well, you can get the phone. Maybe don't have on your lock screen like some big orange tea or something.
Oh, yeah.
Just put a picture of your dog on there, like a Labrador Retriever. Just go find a stock photo of a yellow lab somewhere. Not Juice, because they might recognize Juice, and that would throw you off. But
Golden Doodle.
Yeah, just a Golden Doodle.
They're
there
safe.
You go. That's nice. Who doesn't? Yeah, they're fine. They're like a German Shepherd. Just it's fine.
No bulldogs, no pit bulls.
Yeah, nothing like that.
And nothing like a Pomeranian where they might judge you.
Where they might think, what's your deal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll hand you stuff just here.
A Dalmatian even.
I don't see many Dalmatians.
You don't see them. I think German Shepherd might be the way to go.
Okay.
They say, hey, what's his name? Just say Scout.
Scout's good.
Yeah. Rocky. Siri.
What are we asking her to do?
She thought she was being requested.
Sorry, she can't do that here.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, Siri. I mean, let's save that for later.
Who's winning the table? Who's up?
I don't know.
I know they're just showing stuff.
I'm way behind on the soccer season.
Okay,
it
doesn't really stop. I know they have an off season, but it seems small. It seems short.
Is it Liverpool? I don't even know.
Is that true? I don't know.
I would get yelled at right now, but
for not knowing.
Yeah, Carson has not kept up with it as much this year. At least I don't think he keeps up with his team.
Did you see the interpreter for Otani got 57 months?
That's all?
57 months.
He stole a lot of money.
4.5 years.
Is that like in a state prison? Is that where he goes?
Let's see if it says. I don't know.
You got any
it says in
preferences
prison.
here? You want to watch? Turn to some college games?
I'm assuming it's federal because it says that he has a 3-year supervised release in order to pay nearly $17 million in restitution to Otani and $1.1 to the IRS. He was ordered to surrender by authorities, begin serving his sentence by March 24th. His attorney said he expects him to be deported at a later date. Yeah, I don't know.
Apparently it is Liverpool, by the way.
Okay. Prosecutors recommended a 57-month sentence. His lawyer asked for an 18-month sentence, citing a longstanding gambling addiction. But in a court filing, they said there was minimal evidence he had ever gambled prior to stealing from Otani.
Small Town Republic says, I'm not convinced Otani is 100% clean on that. You?
100% sure? No.
Yeah.
God, no. I'm more convinced than I was when it first happened. But no. 100%? No, not at all. I'm not.
Matt says, Cavs got DeAndre Hunter from the Hawks. How much better does that make them? They traded Karis LeVert in that deal too, and I sort of like Karis LeVert. I mean, I think it does make them better, but I don't think it's a game changer. Hunter's a very good player off the bench, makes him a little deeper. I don't know that it has a monumental impact on what does or doesn't happen. That Cleveland's still going to be determined by what happens with Mitchell and Allen and all the bigs.
Okay, that's why that was. I was looking at Illinois' schedule for some reason because we had up the Big Ten a second ago, and they got credit for a semi-away game against Alabama, and I was trying to figure out where that game was played. It was Birmingham.
Yeah.
They should just get full away game credit for that. Did Bama and Auburn play in the same day there or something?
I think so. I think they did like a doubleheader thing.
Okay. What are you looking for?
I don't know. Just looking for something.
Ryan Kelly came out and said he did support Greg Brooks, and then Greg Brooks' attorney came back and lambasted him today and said that was crap.
Okay. Have you watched any of that?
I've read. I have not watched anything.
Greg Brooks' father was pretty convincing.
I saw the quotes, yes.
I watched it. He was pretty convincing. And if you're Brian Kelly, if you're not telling the truth on this is the kind of thing that could haunt you.
Yeah, Kelly came out and was very adamant, was all blustery and almost act like he was the offended human and all this stuff. And then today, the attorney for Greg Brooks, it was difficult for Greg Brooks to listen to LSU coach Brian Kelly say he was on by his side through this ordeal, and then accuse his father of making a false statement when the reality is Coach Kelly has not contacted Greg in over 16 months. Neither Coach Kelly nor LSU has denied what Greg's father said during the GMA interview, that Greg has not heard from Coach Kelly since October of 2023, long before the lawsuit was filed. LSU and Coach Kelly cannot deny this because it's true. Ironically, it was Coach Kelly who made factually inaccurate statements in March of 2024 when he told the media that Greg was walking, which obviously was not true. Coach Kelly would have known that had he simply picked up the phone and called.
I had someone tell me that he's had much more contact from the Arkansas staff.
Oh, really?
That he left to go to LSU to play for.
Yeah.
Which is not me saying, hey, look at the Arkansas. No, it's me pointing out just how egregious LSU's been. Kelly doesn't ever come across as warm and fuzzy. And maybe it doesn't matter in this era. Maybe it's just
He's
money.
highly unlikable.
Maybe it's
highly
just
unlikable.
money, but I don't know.
He looks so slimy in a world of slime.
I agree with Mark. He better win. Like, you can win your way through this, but you better start winning
and that
right
ceiling's
now.
high.
And he's got a veteran quarterback.
Yeah, win means win.
Yeah, win. Yeah, playoff win.
Yeah.
Yeah, be clear. Go to the playoffs win.
Yeah, don't lose to Alabama and Ole Miss and somebody else. And it's a big Week 5 game, by the way, in Oxford.
Oh, it's huge.
Ole Miss has 4 of the first 5 at home. Corey, thanks for the super chat.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's made up his mind on what he's doing. I hate to announce that for him. But he gave a lot of thought. He looked at one JUCO route to play soccer, and he looked at a couple of schools that he really likes, and he likes them both quite a bit, and I think he's made up his mind, yeah. But I hate to announce something that I don't know that he's publicly announced. No, Tupelo, I'm not going to the game. I was hoping to be going to a soccer game, but our next door neighbor's daughter is getting married Saturday, so we're going to that. Hey, who do we have?
Hey, good afternoon or good evening. This is Mark Palmer from Baton Rouge.
Yes, sir.
How are y'all doing this evening?
Good.
We're good.
Good. Neal, we've met before up in the press box at Ole Miss during football season. Talk to you about your son. And I just wanted to talk about the article real quick and how much it affected me, even though I have just two girls. They were both in sports and really enjoyed reading that, and
Thank you.
just was terrific.
Thank you.
And Chase, I've got your book. I've got to find it, and I'm going to drag it up next year. I'd like for you to autograph it if you get a chance.
As long as you got it, it doesn't really matter where it is right now. That was the goal. So kidding. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll absolutely help you out there.
No, being from Baton Rouge, yeah, you just talked about the Brian Kelly thing. It's kind of been silent around here. Matt kind of talked about it, but he like all the rest of the ESPN staff has been in New Orleans the whole week talking Super Bowl. So I don't know if they'll talk any more about it, but it's interesting to me that it's been kind of quiet down here about that.
They probably are. It's probably nobody really knows exactly how to cover that, because if you're going to come out with some sort of an emphatic stance locally, you either have to say that the LSU coach is lying, or you have to say that a young man and his family who have been through obviously a living hell are lying.
Yeah.
And so
exactly,
if you don't 100% know, you sort of avoid it, and you probably feel pretty weak avoiding it. But if you tackle it and you happen to get it wrong, it's going to be hard to overcome that.
Well, considering the history of Brian Kelly and the young man on the man lift at Notre Dame and how they seem to have avoided that, I'm beginning to think that I believe the dad a little bit more.
Yes.
Yeah, listen, it's easier for us to say this because we're not around them every day and covering them. But yeah, I know which side I'd bet on.
It sounds like an interesting job.
Yeah, it's interesting to me on that. But being down here, we've got LSU coming in tomorrow. I mean, Ole Miss coming in tomorrow when I say we, Ole Miss is coming in tomorrow to play. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I don't get to go to the games that much. I hope maybe we might sneak over there tomorrow to the Assembly Center.
Yeah, you should.
But
it should be a fun game. Tickets will be available. LSU's an athletic team, and Ole Miss plays a really fun brand of basketball.
I like the way they play defense, and I said that early on. I think I mentioned it to you, Neal, or I mentioned it to David up in the press box. But the thing is that they play defense like Weltley played defense, and that goes back to the Bob Knight thing. But they move so much better on defense, and really move their feet. Do everything better on defense than I would have thought they would have done after watching Chris and them play at Texas Tech. Though, it's basically looking the same way.
Yeah, obviously that's a little before our times, but yeah, they're an elite defensive team. They're very, very, very defensively. Every metric shows that, and when they shoot it at all and they just hang in on the boards, they're a difficult team to beat.
It's what's in Chase. I need to ask you about baseball. We've got Elliott back, and I assume he'll throw either Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think the three older guys are going to be the weekend rotation. They have, to my knowledge, Michael announced it on Tuesday. They haven't decided yet, but Maddox or Elliott on Friday, Maddox or Elliott on Saturday, and then I would be a little surprised if it's not Mason Nichols on Sunday. They're going to try to get experience and just be older, really all over the field to start the year. I think Owen Pano probably is going to start at shortstop. He's a true freshman, one of the top 10 freshmen in the country. But outside of that, age and experience and maturity is where they're hoping that a difference will be made. And, it's not a bad idea, because if you don't have the $5 million in NIL for baseball, get older guys who played a ton of ball, and just human nature says a 22-year-old is going to be better than an 18-year-old a lot of the times because of development.
And without going into the settlement thing, our NIL, I assume, is one of the best, still one of the best in the country, with Walker doing it. How is that going to fold in with everything that's coming forward?
We don't know yet all the way. They're going to put the 20.5 in. That means about 16 after they pay for some other stuff. And to most people's knowledge, football will get about 75% of that. Basketball, about 15% of that. You're going to need Grove Collective definitely to finish the basketball budget for sure, because 15% of what they're going to get out of rev share is not enough to even cover what they're paying this year. And then anything in addition to that is women's basketball, baseball, or whatever. And I mean, baseball is probably sitting, I don't know, mid-level of the conference, something like that.
The other thing I've got to say is I travel up. I come to most every game from Baton Rouge. 8 games this year. It's tough, but I'm going to try and make them all. But it's getting harder and harder. And I just, you guys have been on the forefront of this and basically saying, hey, they're starting to work the fans out, the middle class fans, whatever you want to call it. And I just think it's a shame, but I think the same thing is actually happening here at LSU.
It's happening everywhere.
And it's amazing to me that they're cutting the legs. They're basically somehow, especially at LSU, maybe in Alabama and some of the other places, like you said, Neal, it's happening everywhere, that they're cutting their legs out from under them.
They are, and I'm hesitant to like criticize them for it, because they're sitting around a room trying to figure out how to come up with $22 million, and they can't do it the conventional. They can't do it in a way that, like, I mean, if you're following the current events right now, all the Doge stuff where the Elon and company are just going through the things and going, that stupid cut. You're giving money to something in Peru, cut. You can't do that in college athletics. You can, but it's got a much different human cost to it. And so, if you're pick a school, any school in the SEC, I don't know, Missouri, and you're sitting there coming up with $22 million, sure, you can look at something and go, do we really need do we really need a track and field team? Do we really need a track? No, you don't need one, but you've got one. So when you cut it, you slash money off the budget, but you also kill people's jobs and you take opportunities away from young people. And the model has not. It's this new changing model is brand new, and yet you're still trying to incorporate the old model as well, which was built completely differently than this one. So, I mean, at some point, it's either going to fix itself to some degree, or they're going to have to raise prices on everything. And when you raise prices on everything, at some point you do price people out. There's no question about that. And that's frankly the part that I think people like me find sort of, even though I don't pay for tickets and go to stuff like that, I kind of find that frustrating for fans. That sucks. But I also get why the athletic departments are trying to figure out different ways to monetize things to mitigate that pain, but who knows? There's no I don't know. There's no telling where it's all going, and I don't know. And this isn't directed at you. I'm so exhausted from talking about it that it's we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, believe me, I understand. Just two final things. You kind of hinted in the article, I think, you kind of hinted where Carson may be going to college. If you didn't, fine. I wish him the best of luck either way.
Thanks.
And also, I have 2 girls also that have graduated college and finished college, and I know what you've been through. And Chase, I don't envy you and what you have to go through coming up I know it's coming.
Oh, it'll be all right. We'll make it. Thank you, though. Absolutely.
Hey, appreciate the call very much.
But hey, enjoyed it. Y'all have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
I didn't adequately answer Corey's super chat. He says, terrified about next year. He has a 17-year-old junior. My advice to you, have been through it 3 times, is don't be terrified. I wrote this in what I wrote, but I had a friend with kids older than mine who said kids prepare you for empty nest, and they do. I don't think they do it intentionally, but I think there's some natural thing that kicks in, and you when they go off to school, you're better equipped for it than you think you are. You think it's going to be just the worst thing that ever happened, and it's not. Actually, we probably have more contact, like meaningful contact in a week with the girls than maybe we did when they were high school seniors.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
Where they were gone all the time, and you just saw them come in and go to sleep and get up and go to school and do all their things. There's actually more meaningful conversations now than there probably was then. So there's no sense worrying about it. It's the alternative to that is unthinkable. So enjoy the time. It's really that simple. I mean, it's part of it. You have kids with the knowledge that if you do your job, they're gonna spread their wings. So the fact that yours is about to means you're doing well.
Ooh, Temple in South Florida. Okay.
Yeah, it's exciting, huh? Who do we have?
Hey guys, it's Vibin.
What's up, Vibin?
Nothing much. How are y'all?
Good. Just kind of starting to wrap up a Thursday show. What's happening with you?
Nothing much. I took off work tomorrow, which, man, it's kind of overdue. So, not to get long-winded, I work for a contractor that does procurement and contract management for branches of the federal government. And to put it mildly, when did Trump get sworn in?
January 20th. It's been about 17 days.
Yeah, and it's been 17 days of a shit show. It's honestly fascinating. So I've only been doing it. It'll make 4 years in May, and this is the first time I've worked in that field where there was a presidential and administration change. I did not realize, as far as federal government and stuff, like what all goes into like the day-to-day stuff in the federal workforce. It's been fascinating. The shittiest part though is so the Thursday before he was sworn in, I had a job interview with NASA. Had the interview Thursday, was told I was going to be selected for the job Friday. And then the following Monday, he put in the, national federal hiring freeze. So the job was canceled.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Just brutal timing. I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, like when the guy that kind of had the inside track that knew I was getting the job found out they had to cancel it, he kind of gave me a heads up. And even then, I just laughed. I was like, yeah, of course, that would be my luck. But no, it's been crazy. I mean, you never realize, you see him sign executive orders, but it's kind of weird when it gets signed and then the next day your work involves that.
Oh, for sure. I think a lot of people have this natural tendency to think that what happens there doesn't really impact them, and it does.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to dive too deep into politics, but I mean, I work on a daily basis with people that are federal employees, and I mean, you got a lot of people considering retirement right now earlier than they would have, because they just don't know what federal employment's going to look like, in 2 years.
it has great benefits and healthcare and retirement, but at the same time, you're getting offered this buyout, so you don't know whether you should take it or just keep rolling with it.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm honestly surprised how many people haven't taken it. But all right, Chase, you're not having a terrible night, are you?
No, I'm good. What's up?
Okay, so this is where I'm at in Saints apathy. I'm at the point now where I'm actively rooting against the Saints taking Jackson Dart because I think they would kill his career.
I'm at the point where I want him to be an LA Ram. Yeah, that is where I'm sitting on this. Is I want him to be a Ram. I want to pull for him and think he has a good chance. Vibin, I am firmly in the I'm rooting for a bad head coach right now so we can try to get our house in order and get a good one next because you're just going to waste the good one right now and he's going to leave. I mean, we are fully in the part until someone releases the pictures, until something
Neal laughing,
happens.
but it's true.
I wish Kellen Moore all the luck, but I am hopeful that the next guy is the guy that gets us out of purgatory. Ivan, that is where I'm at. We have no front office, we have no money, and we have no quarterback. So other than that, it's going swimmingly.
And we have a GM that, I mean, surely in private he's acknowledged, like, pardon my French, yeah, we maybe shouldn't have fucked this up this bad from a salary cap standpoint.
The other day was just because something's working doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing.
Oh my God.
He said that out loud.
He's got to be gone in 3 years.
He's
right?
Jerry Jones without the ownership stake. I said it this morning and it's true.
Did him and Gail Benson get together after Tom died or something? Or
no comment.
Yeah,
doing a great job with the Pels too, by the way.
They're rocking.
Yeah, I went. My company gets club seats, and I go to a game every now and then. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Pels, Nuggets, and ironic. It didn't even matter because, of course, Zion wasn't playing.
No,
I don't think Ingram was playing, and the Nuggets sat Joker. So it was like the most deflated I've ever been to go to an NBA game.
Yeah, I've been to several Pels games that I don't think I've ever seen Zion play.
Honestly, it's the fact maybe they thought they need to trade Bo. If they traded Brandon Ingram and are going to go all in on Zion, that's some loony bin shit if I've ever seen it. I mean, he's been in the league for what, 6 years now? 5?
His year at Duke was the last year that Ole Miss made the NCAA tournament.
19.
They were in Columbia. Yeah, so 5 years.
Okay, I honestly don't know. I want to look this after I hang up. I don't know if he's played in one season for more than like 80% of a regular season games.
Yeah, I'll pull him up on Basketball Reference.
Yeah, he lost weight, but then at the same time, he doesn't stay healthy enough even with the weight loss. And then I don't know what they got for Brandon Ingram. I'm assuming they got more than Dallas got for Luka. Which, I mean, that trade, I'm all in on the conspiracy theory that the guy that owns the Mavs now, he's just trying to tank the franchise and move to Las Vegas. I don't know if y'all have read that conspiracy theory, but I kind of believe it.
We've talked about it a decent amount. I hit the wrong link on this. Here we go.
It's one of those. It has the potential to go down as the worst NBA trade of all time. And I'm not even a big NBA historian, but I mean, so I don't remember one being that bad.
Zion played in 24 games his rookie year, 61 in 2021. He did not play in 21-22. He played in 29 games in 22-23. He played in 70 games last year, and played in 15 so far this season. So he's missed a little more than half of this year.
Oh, wow.
Jeez. Yeah. I mean, that's brutal. I did want to ask y'all, and maybe y'all have written about it, as far as where do y'all think Dart's going to go in the draft? Do y'all have like a solid guess yet, or
No.
do y'all still want to wait before the combine?
I mean, I think he's worked. I think he's worked his way into the second round, and I think he's got a chance to work his way higher. But a lot of it depends on what happens with other quarterbacks. You know, probably his pro day is going to matter a little bit. Stuff like that. His combine probably matters a little bit. But I think he's worked his way out of the third and into the second. There's still some NFL people that aren't completely sold on him, so he's got questions to answer. But everybody, as I expected would happen, everybody loves the cerebral and competitive part of him after his week in Mobile. He raised his stakes there.
I hate doing this because I love both the guys, but if Matt Corral had his head on straight like Jackson did, he would have gone, I think, first round easily, if not top 15, top 10.
I mean, he had the tools. That's not in doubt.
Yeah, there was.
I mean,
they're just.
I don't know if you can do the same thing with Chad Kelly, but with Matt for sure.
Yeah, and they just don't take guys like that. And listen, in fairness to them, in both of those cases, those decisions have been justified.
100%. I've seen in some of these mock drafts, though, I've looked at a mock, and it looks pretty official. Like, it looked like the guy was had a big following in NFL circles and stuff. He didn't have Walter Nolan going until, like, one of the last picks of the first.
Well, there's a couple that had him in the second even.
Yeah, that could happen. I mean, I think he goes higher than that, but it's a little early to get too worked up about any individual mock because you haven't had the combine. When's the combine? In like a week?
Yeah, it's in February. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to kind of wait for that because there's the whole pajama Olympics thing is going to be a big part of that. It always is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Princely's his stock's gonna, I don't know, shoot up, but it's gonna go up when they weigh him and they just look at from a physical standpoint how he can move.
Yeah, I would think a lot of his deal is going to come down to medicals too. They're going to want to look at his just his injury history and make sure he's healthy and then all of that. But yeah, in terms of he's got all the physicals and intangibles. He's a high motor, high character guy.
Yeah. Last thing, if y'all had to pick today, what seed do you think Ole Miss is going to be for the tournament?
6.
I was going to say 6.
6
seed, which would be an incredible accomplishment this year.
Yeah.
In year 2?
I'm cheering for 5 or 4, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to.
I mean, they could. I mean, there's no room for much. I mean, they could get there. They'd probably have to get to 12 and 6 in the league. Probably to get to
11 could do it.
11 could maybe do it. Yeah.
I mean, just doing net down the line.
Yeah.
I mean, top 20 or 5 seeds.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's all I had, guys. Appreciate y'all taking the call. All right.
All right, we're gonna wrap it there. We've been going a couple hours. Appreciate everybody for calling in. Great show. Really appreciate it. A lot of fun. Most basketball we've talked in maybe forever. Appreciate all the people who had the nice things to say about Carson and the story. Appreciate that a lot. I'll have coverage late Saturday. Ole Miss and LSU at 7:30. Is that right? 7:30 in Baton Rouge. So we'll have some post game coverage to you from there. 10 weekend thoughts. Might be Monday. Sometimes on Super Bowl Sunday, I'll wait and do it on Monday. We'll figure it out. We'll have that, and then we'll have another week podcast to you next week as we get ready for.
Eli finds out tonight if he's in the Hall of Fame too.
Oh, so that's right. What time's that?
8 or 9.
Okay,
I don't know.
Late. All right, so we'll have Eli Manning stuff if that goes down. So hopefully it does. I think. Don't you? Your prediction?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I think
yes.
I think yes too. All right. So thanks to everybody again. Thanks to the people at Comer and Southern for sponsoring the show, and we'll talk to you guys again on Monday.